This is your one and only 𝐕𝐸ₚ with your daily dose of video goodness, and today we are taking a look at some beginner tips and tricks for the Riftbreaker. Let's get to it. So the first tip may seem kind of obvious to most people normally, but in this game, maybe not so much. So this game is rather difficult, and especially in the survival mode. If you're having difficulty on normal mode, just give easy a go until you're more familiar with all of the game's concepts and just familiar with the game as a whole, and get really good to the point where easy mode is no challenge for you, and then give normal a try. Especially, like I said, in survival mode, normal can be rather brutal. So next up, we're going to talk about defense. So first off, use the terrain to your advantage. You can see here how I have the whole back half of the base here is a wall that they cannot destroy. None of the enemies can get through this. They can bomb around it and stuff like that, but most of the time they're going to go straight for your structures and they won't try to attack over a wall. They'll attack structures and over your structures. Do not be afraid to build the walls extra thick. I always start off right from the get-go with what you see here, 2 thick walls right off the bat. So put down your first layer. As soon as you have the resources, layer it a second time. You can get the gates like this simply by turning them around. I just have the gates facing each other, and you can rotate those with the middle mouse button. Many of you may already realize that that's a thing, but the game doesn't really tell you that. So for new players, that's going to be super handy for you. So yeah, just put a gate down, rotate it around facing the other way, put it down like that. You can have 2 gates back to back like that, or I should say front to front. Power is extremely important in this game, and there's 2 things that you can do right from the get-go that are going to help you with power issues early on, and that is build the plant biomass power plant. You may think, oh, I don't need that. I'm just going to build a lot of solar panels or wind turbines or a combination. You should build a combination of the both. Don't just build one or the other, but also build 1 or 2 of these plant biomass power plants, because you're going to be doing a lot of clearing of the terrain, and every time you clear any plant matter like this, you see all of those green leaves that have fallen all over it. You pick those up, and if we hit tab here, I have all the stats maxed out once again in creative mode. You can see that they show up here. You're going to be doing that a lot, more than you think you're going to be doing it, and as you're doing that, you're generating power. It's just quick, easy power for you. If you take a look at the base stats on this thing, it's going to give you 100 energy per second. Well, basically 100 energy per each one of those plants that you pick up. And you're going to be picking up a lot of them early game. The next step to go with that is to build more energy storage than you think you're going to need. A safe bet is to just build double the energy storage of however many generating things you have, especially starting out early with wind turbines, the solar panels, and the plant biomass power plant. And the reason you want to do that, even if you're having trouble filling it up, if you have right from the get-go, I don't know, 212,000 storage, and you're not sure it's ever going to fill, the game does random things like there'll be super windy days where these things will put out an absolute ton of power. There's storms that'll happen where it'll just give you tons and tons of power. Up here where you see where it shows that I'm generating plus 851, that'll just go crazy and generate an absolute ton of power. And I can actually demonstrate that here in creative mode. So we're going to get an ion storm and watch as this just jumps up. I've also set to strong wind as well. So you can see when the ion storm happens, you just start generating tons of power. Now, if you did not have the storage for it, even if you can't fill it, you would be missing out on all of that free power, which could help you in the long run later game when you're using a lot more power. So build more energy storage than you think you're going to need. The next tip I have for you is not only do you want to build towers inside your base, so like I would put towers on my inner walls like this so that they can shoot if things get close by, but also build towers out from your base like you see here. So all I did to do this was I just put down a few towers like so, and you don't have to do 2x2 like this, you could just do 1, or you could do 2, or however you want to do it. And then make sure that you protect your energy connectors as well. So in this situation, I have thick wall here because the AI will attack this wall before it attacks back. I mean, it'll attack this and attack back in here, but this just keeps some units busy. And it also helps protect these, because if these get damaged, then these won't fire. And over here, I have a different setup where we're just conserving some resources. So all I did in order to do this was just place a wall, then come on the other side, place a wall, and place a wall like that, and then did not connect them together. You don't have to have the walls here on the corners. It just gives a little extra protection for them to attack to. But if they attack any of these side walls, so if we have a wall, like if they attack this wall here, and if this wall is gone, the corners don't really matter because they would get into the energy connector anyway. Now, why do this? You do this because this causes the units to attack these first before they try to attack the stuff that's inside of your base. There are units which are spawning up here now and will come down here and attack, and they are long range units and they have splash damage, so they throw big green exploding bombs at you. Well, when they throw those, and if you don't have anything out here for them to attack, like you see here, they will start throwing those bombs inside your base instead, damaging everything inside your base. Now, later game, that's not too big of a deal because you can do things to protect inside of your base and have towers that repair things. But early game, this is super handy because as you see here, they're attacking this first and not attacking the inside of my base. So this took all of the brunt of the damage, and I can easily just quickly repair this and fix it back up instead of that splash damage hitting everything inside my base and damaging a bunch of buildings inside my main area. Other things that you can do to mess with the AI if you have an abundance of resources and you don't mind wasting a little bit of stuff is you can build small little structures like this out in front of your base, and this will occupy some of the AI instead of having them come to your base. Now, you will, if there's enough, they will flood over and attack your base as well, but on smaller waves, and even if it's a large wave, this will keep a chunk of them busy, giving you plenty of time to react. The next tip I have for you is layering your energy storage in between your walls. So if we take a look at our basic wall here, our basic wall only has 350 HP. However, our energy storage has 500. So putting your energy storage in between your walls, yes, it sucks if it gets destroyed, but because you lose stored energy, but you can get that back relatively easily later, and it gives you very significant padding in between your walls, giving you time to react. Takes them quite a bit longer to eat through the 500 damage energy storage unit building than it does a 350 basic wall. They will also focus The AI will also focus these buildings before it focuses the wall. So if they eat through your first layer of wall and they start to attack these buildings, they'll focus heavily on these buildings before they focus on your next wall, giving you even more time to react to the situation. Next tip I have is when it comes to building specifically the energy connectors, you can hold and drag those and it will place them as far apart as they can be placed. So for example, if I come to right here, you can see if I move forward, the energy connector would not be connected to here. But if I click and hold and then I drag, it will place them as far apart as they can go, so you don't have to count them out. And you can click and drag and build most buildings. I can do it with these two to build a nice line of those, or with anything basically. You can just hold and drag and just build lines of them. Next, let's talk about fast travel. Fast travel is a thing in this game, and you can do it all over the place and set up fast travel points wherever you want. First off, you can always come back to your base at any time. So if you hit tab, that brings up the map. You see these points here, and it says click on them to instantly teleport. If we click on our base, bam, there we are. You can also set fast travel points wherever you want with these here, the rift portals. They're super cheap to make them everywhere. You will thank me later when you make them in different different places. So you have a little outskirt base, whatever, place one down. You want to just quick way outside of your base, place one down. On top of that, when you travel back to base or to one of your points, you leave this little green one wherever you quick travel from so that you can return to it later. So if we're out here in the middle of nowhere and we're doing something, whatever, oh no, we're getting attacked, we need to go back to base, we click to go back to base, we fight off whatever is in our base, then we want to go back to where we were, bam, there we go. We can go right back to where we were. Now that does stay wherever you last teleported from when you didn't travel from a rift point that you created. So like if I go here, I get one as well. But if I go from this point here to another point, so like here, you can see that it didn't create a new one because we were already there at a rift point. And our original point is still over here and we can get back to it. It's really handy. It makes getting around the map super fast and super easy. So it's something you just want to get used to doing. Tab, click, fast travel, quick and easy. Next, let's talk about melee weapons. Get the spear as soon as you can. If you come over here and take a look at our weapons, you can get the spear super early as soon as you build an armory. Do it. Trust me, this thing is one of the strongest melee weapons in the game and it makes life considerably easier. So not only can you attack, you can attack with any melee weapon through your wall. So I can go like this and you can see our range there. It comes to like right here with the sword. It's super short range, but we could slash things that are on our walls, right? If it's super close. Perfectly fine. However, if we swap to the spear and we attack, look how far the spear is going. It's attacking all the way out to here. We could have this whole area filled with enemies trying to get through our walls and we can just go like this and spear right through large groups of them at a time. Not only that, the spear is also great for kiting enemies. You can also get enemies in a line like you see here and you can spear chunks of them at a time. Like so, just go around. Look at how, well, that was such short work. Now let me show you kiting. So these guys here, these guys kite really well. And you're like, well, how are you doing that so easily? Well, it has cryo on it. So it slows enemies down, making them even easier to kite. So you can just back up, poke, back up, poke. You get into some other parts, like in the acid plains, there's little guys that explode as well and leave puddles on the ground. And if you're spearing them and running backwards and kiting them, you will never have any problems killing them. The spear is insanely strong. If you get this warning, acid yeast colony detected, kill it as soon as possible. Whatever you have to do, get to the acid yeast colony as quickly as you can and get rid of it. It will spread and take over the entire map. The longer you wait, the harder it is to get rid of. And let me show you what that is. This is an acid yeast colony, and as you can see, it's spreading really quickly. You can see it spreading right now, and this did not take too much time before it started to happen. Basically, you get the warning, and about 3 to 5 minutes later, it starts spreading, and it spreads fast. It will take over your entire map and eventually overrun your entire base, and you won't be able to do anything about it. So if you get that warning, you want to get to it as soon as possible. These right here, you have to destroy them in order to stop where it is spreading. These right here are what cause it to spread. So if you delete these, you will make a path to the main colony, which is right here, and stop it from spreading. But you can see I only deleted a few here. It's still spreading over here quickly. So you need to get rid of it. And in order to do that, you have to get rid of this. Now, the spear also comes in handy here because as you see, I can actually destroy large chunks of it with the spear. You can't do this. If I stand in that, I start taking damage. So you can't do it with the sword. You could possibly do it with the edge of the hammer, but it's really easy to do it with the spear and you can make a path through. The other thing I like to do is rocket launcher. So you can charge a rocket launcher to max and that will make a pretty nice path for you there. Use your rocket or whatever you want to use on the main colony. This is what it looks like. This is the center. Once you delete this, then you can delete the little ones and get rid of it pretty easily if you don't let it expand. If you just neglect it, it's bad. You'll just lose the game. Trust me. Been there, done that. Next thing is you can double click most things. So the research tree, I've already have everything researched here, but if you click it, there's a button that shows up down here that tells you to click it to research it. It's a lot of like moving the mouse that you don't have to do. You can just double click to initiate or add stuff to the research queue. You can also double click to equip things. So if we come over here and I want to equip the blaster, just double click, there we go. And I can swap that out for something else if I wanted to. I can also double click to unequip it. Also, you can stack upgrades. So as you progress through the game, you're going to get different upgrades, but you can stack your upgrades. As you see here, I have 70 shield. This gives me 30, well, they call it force field power. I have 70 force field power. If I click this and I double click it to unequip it, you can see I go down to 35. So you can do this with a lot of things. You can do it with the maintenance tools for build cost, all the upgrades essentially. I mean, there are some, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but there's some you obviously won't stack because you don't need to. But there are a lot of them there that do give you stats that you can stack. And the last tip I have for you is come over to options and you want to go to settings, and under gameplay, you'll see here autosave interval set in minutes. Crank that up a little bit. It's just helpful. I mean, unless you want to be constantly interrupted, the game stutters a little bit when it saves, and it's defaulted to 5 minutes, which is slightly annoying. So I just cranked mine up to 15. 15's not the worst. You can also quick save whenever you want with F5. So if you need to save at some point sooner than every 15 minutes, you can just tap F5 to quick save. And you can hit F8 to quick reload. Last but not least, there is a sandbox mode and it's under survival. When you go into that mode, it's gonna look like a normal game and you're gonna be like, well, what's sandboxy about it? To activate the sandboxy menu, which they call the control panel, hit F11 on your keyboard. That will bring up the sandbox control panel, and you can see you got a lot of different options here of different things that you can do. Basically, you just set whatever you want and then click confirm. It won't do anything unless you click confirm. So for example, if I want to change it to morning, I click OK to set to morning and I click confirm. And you can see the time is swapping over to morning. All right, and that's all I have for you for this one. Hopefully you found it helpful and informational. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. I want to give an absolutely massive shout out and thank you to my supporters on Patreon for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.